guys, welcome again to this channel, and I hope you're all keeping safe and your loved ones too. How is quarantine or self-isolating for you? For me, it's honestly very boring. Working from home is not fun at all. I just get bored out of my mind. Time is not moving. I don't know what the experience is for you guys, but anyway, thank you. Lovely to tune back in or to be connected with you guys again. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you are watching this video, I kindly request you to do so. So this is going to be definitely a two-part series of my horrible roommate saga story, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure at some point in your life, all of you guys have had a chance to have a roommate, either in high school or in campus, or maybe at your workplace if you're working abroad and living in maybe shared accommodation. It doesn't have to be like a company provided accommodation, but just shared accommodation. I don't know what your experience has been, but for me, this is my story. This is exactly what I did. Okay, so when I was going to the university, of course I knew that I was going to get to be staying with some people that I have not met before. So I prayed to God that I get people that I can cope with, that are well mannered, because you know that bad company can ruin good morals, and I also just people who fear God. And I thank God that at that point my prayers were answered, and I had just some of the loveliest roommates that I'm still friends with up to this point in my life. We still have a WhatsApp group, we still have like a merry-go-round. We are in contact, we are in touch from that point on. So coming here, the same thing happened. Of course, I knew that I was going to be sharing with a room with somebody, either two people or one person. So I prayed to God, please, I need a roommate that I can cope with, because I don't want to go crazy. It's already crazy enough that I'm moving away from my family, and the least I am asking for is just have sanity and a peace of mind in wherever place I'm going to be staying. So coming here, the first day, and I meet my boss, because as I mentioned before, my very first assignment was to work at the camp. I was like the camp admin assistant, or the female camp admin assistant. So, and that position came about because the population of Kenyans in our company, or in our camp, was increasing. I think by the time I came in, there were more than 300 Kenyans living in the camp, and the administrators were Indians, and they were not able to properly understand Kenyans or to represent them, you know. So I was brought in as some sort of ambassador, you know. So that position was created. It was not there before, like there had never been a Kenyan before working at the camp, so I was the first one. So when my actually roommate, one lady that I will call Mercy, that is not her real name. Let me not use Mercy. Which name should I use? Okay, which name should I use? Let's say Betty, whatever. Let's say Betty. So when she heard that they are actually looking to hire a Kenyan to fill up the position of administrative assistant at the camp, she put in her application, because she was a supervisor. She was already like on a higher grade, and she wanted to change position, to move away from the place or from the site that she was working at and come and work at the camp. But her attitude was just, oh my God, and everybody knew about that. So the camp boss was like, no, we cannot like put you in that position, because you will step on everybody's toes. So the first day I arrived at the camp, yeah, it's fine, and at that point there was nobody in the room, so I was the first one to come in. Like the people that were living here before were asked to vacate or to go to other rooms, so that they leave these rooms, to leave this room to be like for Kenyans, because for us we like to put people of the same nationality together, because it just happens that if they mix, there's not so much like they don't get along very well. It just happens, it depends, but it's not always the case. So yeah, for at that time they were not mixing people of different nationalities. So if you're Kenyan, you're put with a Kenyan, you're Indian with an Indian, Nepali with a Nepali, Bengali, like that. Filipinas with Filipinas. In fact, there were all like whole villas just dedicated for Kenyans or Filipinas or whatever, among all the like 30 something villas that we have. So when I came in the first day and now meeting my boss, and my colleague introduced me and said, yeah, this is the lady that is going to be staying with Betty. And the guy just looked at me and said, wow, all the best. And I was like, eh? What does it mean, all the best? Like, how bad can it be? Little did I know what was coming for me. So I came back to my room and I was like, God, I hope I'm not getting a disaster. I really asked for a good roommate. Please, please, please don't bring me something any different. So I stayed on my own for a while because she was living in another villa, but that villa was being like vacated and left for like all the senior staff were being moved from that villa to our villa, so that one was to be left for junior staff because it was bigger, it had more rooms, and it was more spacious, so it could accommodate more people. So even moving itself was a problem. Like, she created a whole problem. No, I don't want to move her. And for me, I was just like, I would, because I was working in the same office, you know, like camp office, and I had to deal with her with all the struggle that she did not want to move. And I was just telling God, oh my God, how am I going to survive with this one? Even she would meet me outside the street. She would not, like outside the office, she would not say hi. And I was like, I would try to say hi and she would just ignore, and I was like, oh my God. Then eventually she was forced to move, and that is the point that I got a roommate. And surprisingly, we got along. Actually, what happened is, when I went to church the first time, when I went to the religious complex, I went to RCCG, and I just got bored because got bored with the service. It was the first time. I wasn't used to that kind of service. They were having all this, I don't know, Friday school. So I got bored and I went to the washroom, and she happened to be there. This lady, she happened to be at the washroom, and she was like, how comes you're here right now? And I told her, oh, I've gone to one church and it's just so boring, and I don't know if I want to go back there. And she was like, how about you come to our church? I'll show you, blah, blah, blah. So I followed her. We went to her, her church. I joined the church. It was fun. So we got bonded because of going to the same church, and we became friends actually. And she moved in, and I was even telling her, wow, people used to tell me, like everybody used to tell me like how terrible she is, how horrible, like how nobody can stand her, nobody wants to live with her. And for me, I was like, okay. I even told her, like, you know how scared I was because of the stories that I had about you, that you are like just nobody can cope with you and blah. But I'm surprised that you are not bad. But she was just like hiding her character. So we got along fine. She showed me so many places. We used to go to places, you know, around Doha. She introduced me to so many places. And then later on, I just started feeling like, no, there are some of these places that I don't want to really go to because I don't want to get myself into trouble, because we have so many rules to abide by in this place. And I was just feeling like, okay, some of these places may be making me violate these rules, and I don't want to get into trouble, being that I'm very new and I am the admin at that point. But at that point, my colleague had resigned, so I was like the only person managing that accommodation office. So I distanced myself from, you know, going out with her to all these places. And there was some tension between us. Look, why don't you want to go to this place? Blah, blah, blah. But we continued just getting along. I don't know. And then finally, one day, I think there was a complaint concerning her that she's coming way too late, way beyond the curfew time that we are allowed to have. And I was asked to speak to her because now I am the admin. Anything concerning the camp, I was the one, they would refer to me, like I was the one to make the decision or to communicate to my senior. So I tried to speak to her, and I told her, please, just as a friend, I'm telling you, just try. Next time you go out, please just make sure you abide by the time, don't come late. There are some complaints about you. And she was just saying, she was like, oh, thank you, girlfriend, I will do that. I thought that was over. So the following day, then she came to the room. She never said anything. She never spoke to me. And then the following day, she came back. She came to the office, and I told her, please, just if you're putting in like a request to go out, just make sure you come back early. Hey, I had stepped on her toes. So she just went out. When she came back now with full force. Like, I don't know what she was high on or whatever. I don't know. She's like, what is this? What you were telling me? That I cannot stay out until what time? When did you become the boss? What did you know? You just came back. You just came here the other day. I will show you who I am. You don't know me. You don't. And I was like, I'm not trying to show you anything. I'm just trying to relay a message. I'm just trying to prevent you from getting into any kind of trouble. And she's like, okay, I'll speak to the boss. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I'm not going to argue with you about work-related stuff here. If you have a problem, please come to the office. Hey, and she's like, huh? So you think you have an office and you can tell me to come to the office? And I think that is where we just fell apart. Yeah, so it was just, we were not speaking to each other, and when she would come, she would just make like funny comments, and I would not react at all. I would not speak. I would not say anything. There was just this cold war. I would stick to my corner. She would do all this crazy stuff. She would laugh. She would just make like insulting comments, and she would laugh, and it was horrible. Honestly, most of the time in my heart, I would just cry to God and say, God, I'm not going to fight with her, because my position is very critical. I'm the one who's trying to stop people from fighting and asking people to live peaceably. I'm not going to be the one engaging in silly fight. So God, I'm not going to fight, but I will let you fight for me. And I was frustrated. Every day she would come with new drama. She would speak on the phone, just making me feel bad about myself, very bad about myself. She already told me that I am nothing. So I kept quiet. I tried as much as possible not to get into any kind of confrontation with her. And that was also bothering her, because she actually thinks she wanted us to fight so that I could get into trouble. So one time she comes and she asked me something like, did you leave stains on the bathtub? And I'm like, no, I did not leave any stains on the bathtub. And she's like, oh, this was here, this is here, and last month it was also here, and I was like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm the only person that even washes that bathroom, so what are you asking? And that day we kind of got into a confrontation, and I just told her, hey, if they sent you, tell them you did not find me. Tell them you did not find me. I don't want to argue with you. Just leave me in peace. And she couldn't. She continued insulting me. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. Everything I leave to God. I am letting God fight my battles for me. And she told me, the same God that you pray to is the same one I pray to. We shall see. And I told her, and I just said, I call the heavens to be a witness between me and you, who is wrong. If I am wrong, then let God be the judge. And if you are wrong, let God be the judge. I'm not going to say anything else. Because of this arrogance, a few days or weeks later, she was kicked out of the company. And I was left at peace. And somehow she managed to find a way to accuse me that I made her get fired or whatever. But anyway, it was just all of this drama. She could not get along with anyone. She could not abide by the rules. She could not do this. She could not do that. But this happened, and eventually she left. She was waiting. She was hoping that I would be the one that would leave, and she was trying to provoke me and to attack me so that I could get into fights. But I was just trying and just praying, oh God, give me the patience, give me the patience. So that is roommate number one. And then from that point, I got to stay alone for a while, and then I got another roommate, a Filipina. Actually, I have stayed with how many roommates? 1, 2, 3, 4 roommates, and now I am still without a roommate. So I got another roommate, a Filipina. She was very nice. We got along really fine. The only issue was that she liked the room very, very cold, and I just cannot like put up with the AC. But that was not an issue because we would let the room cool down a little bit, then put off the AC and then put it back up again when she was feeling like hot, like that. And then eventually this one also left because she was a Filipina, and before we only had one Filipina in the entire camp of around 500 people. We had only one Filipina. So when the population of the Filipinas started to increase, they were given their own villa. So even this one, all the Filipinas moved to one villa. So I was left without a roommate, and I stayed alone again for like a month. And then anyway, I was interrupted by a call. So that one left, and then now that one was not even, that was actually nothing. That was actually nothing. That one also left, so I was left alone. And then now this is where I encountered a real attack, like a real attack, because I got now another roommate, also a Kenyan, that I will be telling you about it in a whole other video, because this video is already long enough. It's already 17 minutes. So yeah, thank you guys. This was just a chit chat, you know. I know so many of you are self-isolating, quarantine, and this is just a way to fill up your time, you know. So I will be telling you more about the other roommate, which was now even crazier than craziness, in another video. So stay tuned for that. I love you guys, and yes, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please support me by doing so. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I will see you on another video. Bye.